Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tony'sPicks.com. I'm Tony T. Time for our WNBA two-pack from the two games scheduled for Monday. Ramon Scott will deliver those plays. You'll find his screen plays over at Tony'sPicks.com. Ramon, over the past 7 days, put up some good numbers here in MLB and soccer. I know I've been reading the comments here on these WNBA picks. You guys have been very happy with them. Let's bring Ramon in right now. Ramon, what's going on?
Well, good, Tony. I'm glad that everyone's liking the pick so far. Definitely rolled it again on Sunday. I'm happy to do it here for you and for everyone. Quite frankly, I'm not sure that the rest of the, betting pundits are really up to speed yet on the league. So I think we're doing a good job. Information's kind of hard to come by a little bit. I was just surfing a little bit here to meet with you, and I see a lot of the sites are kind of behind on their standings, on their spread records, and stuff like that. So, the league might be growing, but the gambling information might be hard to find. Let's deal some winners.
There's some winners here. Ramon Scott here, WNBA. I'd like to thank everyone for supporting Ramon's videos here. Great viewership here, WNBA. Well, we expected it, right? We've seen it over the years. There's no question why we did WNBA, because you guys like Ramon's picks, and the views have been very high in the past couple of years and trending that way again this year. All right, let's get underway here. We begin with the Sun and Fever here. We're seeing the Sun a favorite here on the road, 4.5 in some places, 163.5 the total.
Well, Tony, you forgot to say the words Caitlin Clark, and that would have immediately bumped up another 50 views, probably. So I'll say it for you. Caitlin Clark on Sunday, a pretty okay game, pretty good game for her as she continues to learn, her quotes after the game. Uh, Basically saying, it's not like this in college. I mean, every possession I'm, being contacted and having to fight through more screens than ever before. That's just the way it is. They're not picking on her. This is professional basketball. So I expect a dramatic improvement by Clark, but the Fever do have their work cut out for them. Tony, we mentioned it on Sunday. They were in that matchup with the Liberty, and they lost 91-80. But I thought they hung in there pretty good. Now they got to come back home and play Connecticut, which isn't an easy task, certainly. So when you come into a game like this, when you're 0-3, basically, Tony. Now, yeah, they did. Get the number there in that last game. I said Sunday, of course, it was on a Saturday that they played that game, 91-80, that they lost against the Liberty. Talk about the Fever, but Connecticut won on Sunday, 84-77 over Washington, or on Friday. Oh boy, Tony, what a weekend! Uh, for Connecticut, though, they come in undefeated at this point, 2-0, and favored here, of course, to win at Indy. Not number looks short to me, Tony. The way I see it, still at this point, I think the Fever have kind of the longest way to go of any of these teams, certainly right now, Tony, to be quite honest. They do look like maybe I will say, maybe next to worst team right now in the league. So they lost at the Liberty, as I said, in that last game, 91-80. So it's just been a long time. Tony, Connecticut hasn't missed the playoffs in 7 years. Indy hasn't made the playoffs in 7 years. So I just think with Bonner and company right here, I'm going to lay the points. It just looks short to me still. I'm not sure if it's the public that's still going to be getting involved, and that's what the odds makers are expecting, and keeping this number short, Tony. It just doesn't look like enough. They do have a cover so far in their 3 games, but I'm not sure it's going to come here. I do like the matchup for Kelsey Mitchell for Indiana in this one, but I just think too much here for Connecticut, for Indiana against Connecticut. I'll take the Sun.
All right, Ramon Scott, click the link below for his best bets, Sun and Fever on ESPN. He'll take the Sun here, laying the 4.5. All right, guys, be sure to click the link to get to Ramon's best bets. And, of course, promo code 20 at checkout will save you 20% off all Ramon's best bets and all his pre and pick packages. All right, let's continue here on our rundown here for the games on Monday as we get ready here for the next game here on the board. Storm at Liberty. Liberty 10.5, total 170.5.
Well, good thing I don't have to fumble through talking about that Liberty game over Indiana. Again, we know it was 91-80. They did lose that game against the spread, by the way. That was the one cover for the Fever. But all their wins so far for the Liberty have come against winless opposition. Not going to hold that necessarily against them at this point. Seattle, they're 1-2 after the loss on Sunday. They're the team that played on Sunday. They had the 84-75 victory over Washington. We talked about it, how they looked like they were going to have the better personnel out there on Sunday against the Mystics, and I think that that is what held to be the case. We got there also on the under with the other show as well by a point or two. So Seattle did cover that spread, laying 7 on the road. New York won all 4 meetings last year between these two teams. I will mention they were all by 8 points or less, and you see the spread here in this one, Tony, currently at 10. But I just figure right now the Liberty really, if we talk about them being the number 2 team right now, and the Aces aren't necessarily covering spreads, while New York looking pretty good in these 3 games despite the quality of competition. I think just Seattle coming in on the back-to-back here, it's going to be just a little bit too much again. I'm going to take a double-digit victory here for the Liberty. I got to figure with Ionescu, with Stewart, with John Quell Jones. I would expect it to be a pretty big performance for the Liberty against Seattle. Look, I think Seattle's a team that I've kind of said that, they will be on the upswing, and maybe that's a popular opinion after, they've added, Skylar Diggins-Smith to the team this year, and you got good players on the team like Jewel Lloyd, like Ezzy Magbagor. So I think Seattle will be improved, but we'll see how it's going to affect teams, Tony, in the WNBA on these back-to-backs. We know they're improving their travel situation a little bit this season, even though it's been a little slow go here in the early on, getting all the charters on board. I'm not too worried about the short trip here, certainly, for Seattle, but just the turnaround time. It is something that has proven to be an issue. Of course, it's always an issue, Tony, we know in our professional sports, the back-to-back, but in the WNBA, it has been a little bit more prevalent over the couple of years when the teams do play a handful each year. So I'm going to take the Liberty to roll this one by double digit.
Ramon Scott here, Storm and Liberty. The pick here will be Liberty here at -11 or 10.5. Do your line shopping. Get the best number. All right, we got you through this 2-pack from Ramon. Guys, remember, get his pre and plays. Click the link in the description. Use the promo code TonyT at checkout. You'll save 20% off. So let's now take a look over at TonySpace.com for the Monday card. Of course, Ramon, really good results here in MLB the last 7 days, as well as soccer. We got 12-game card from Major League Baseball. We have a single on the ice with that big game number 7. What do you have going over at Tony's Picks?
Yeah, Tony, it is going to be a pretty cool day here on Monday with our sports action. Certainly, the Oilers and the Canucks. We're looking forward certainly to that one. And our Major League Baseball card does include a couple of day games here on Monday. A little bit of a wraparound for my Padres going up against the Braves. Do get that night off in the NBA, but we'll definitely have action here. 2 games in the WNBA as well, as we just mentioned. So check me out over at Tony'sPicks.com. Use the promo code TonyT at checkout to save 20% off all premium pick packages. Add premium pick winner with the over in the Pacers and the Knicks in their big game 7 on Sunday. And we also had some winners over in Major League Baseball as well. So why not hook up with me for the weekly All Sports Premium Pass? You see it right there as Tony has it on the screen. Ride with me for 7 days this week through the NBA and NHL conference finals. I know we got that game 7, but let's just call it like it is, Tony. We're moving here down to our Final 4 pretty much in the respective leagues. So let's get ready for a big, big week of playoff action, plus Major League Baseball in full swing. And I'll have WNBA all week with you here on the site, Tony. You can use the promo code TonyT at checkout. Save 20% off all premium pick packages. that weekly will take you all the way through next week's action. So why not experience what it's all about with high volume picks from me every day? You're going to get anywhere probably from 5 to a dozen. It feels like just depends on the size of the card. Hey, if there's a 15 card, 15 game card, and there's one play. There's one play, but that doesn't really happen. uh, Tony, I'm always going to look hard at each and every card for the best advantages possible. Come describe them to you on the various shows here on the channel, and of course, save my premium picks, my best bets. Go right here at tonyspicks.com, where you can use that promo code there and get my picks with a little bit of analysis as well. So you get great information, good content is what you're paying for, not just a bunch of winners. You get some extra information from me as well, talking about the teams, how they're playing, how they're going to play it, and so on. So join me over at tonyspicks.com. Use that promo code TonyT at checkout to save 20%. I will have an individual package up for Monday's action involving all of my plays from Major League Baseball, and I'm sure involving the NHL as well, Tony, in that big Game 7 between the Canucks and the Oilers. Canucks owning that home ice advantage. So check us out over at tonyspicks.com. Let's get ready for another great week of action.
That's right, guys. You got everyone Scott over at TonySpicks.com. You see good results here in baseball last 7 days, also soccer as well. Click that link in the description, and you'll get right to Ramon's handicapper page. Get the long-term passes. You guys like that 7-day pass to start the week. All the NBA and NHL will be into the conference finals in both leagues, as well as Major League Baseball with those big cards. If Ramon releases WNBA picks, that'll be part of it too in that 7-day pass. UFC, where he's been on fire here with the UFC, that's also part of that 7-day pass. And of course, I know you guys like those 1-day passes, because a lot of times you'll buy those 1 days, then graduate up to the long term after a history of winning days. So those will be up there as well. Remember, those 1-day passes are profit guaranteed. They must turn a profit, or the amount you purchase is credited back to your account for site credits. That is profit guarantee. Save your 20% off. Use that promo code TonyT at checkout. Catch Ramon live here on the Tony Speaks YouTube channel with the morning steam, 9 a.m. Eastern time every day. A pick from every game on the major board. There'll be some peripheral picks in there as well. And it is a chat-driven show, so the chat is very welcome to join Ramon here. As a co-host is the chat of the morning steam. So join Ramon and the co-host the chat, and interact with Ramon with picks and comments. Keep it civil. Keep it civil. That's all I'm saying. All right, for Ramon, I'm Tony T. We'll talk to you later.